He just disappeared one day.
Hey family, and welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the family. We are all family over here. Y'all, today we are doing another episode on Jelani Day. Jelani Day is a 25-year-old male who attended ISU in the graduate program. He was an honor student. He was a lovable, hardworking, determined 25-year-old man who was going to ISU to be a speech pathologist. And he was last seen August 24th of 2021.
Jelani Day was 25 years old. He was attending ISU to become a doctor, I believe. He had already graduated from a school in Alabama.
Yeah.
Yep, he had
top
graduated.
Of his class.
Yeah, he was top of his class. Super smart dude. Super clean cut. He just disappeared one day, and they found him a couple days after. Think it was maybe like a week and a half after, because they said he had been found in the river for like 11 days. His body had been there for 11 days.
Yep.
But anyway, man, it's a super crazy story. We like 6-7 months out and still ain't got no answers, and his mom still looking for answers. I mean, it's crazy. They have no person of interest. They no leads whatsoever.
They honestly don't know what happened to Jelani. Well, he went missing. It's a whole timeline. So, his mom last talked to him on August 23rd, and they talked a lot. They were really, really close. He was really close to his mom and his family. And so she talked to him last on the 23rd. The 24th rolled around, and they normally talk every day. But she hadn't noticed on the 24th that she really didn't talk to him because she was so busy packing, getting ready for a vacation they were taking for Thanksgiving. So on the 24th, he was supposed to meet with a professor to go over, a few things about his classes and homework and stuff like that. And he never showed to the meeting. They did see him on campus getting breakfast from a Starbucks early that morning around 7 something.
Like 7.
Yeah, about 7:20. They seen him on the camera. And then later on, around 9:30ish, they seen him walking to a dispensary in Illinois. And so that was the last time Jelani was seen at all. Jelani was reported missing on August 25th, and his car was discovered August 26th. So it's really a timeline within it all. Still, his mother doesn't know, or his family doesn't know what happened to him. They have done 3 different autopsy reports, and they have concluded that Jelani cause of death was drowning, but that wasn't concrete. They only said that because he was found in the Illinois River. However, his mama said he was a avid swimmer, so she don't believe he just drowned. If he did, he was, harmed in some type of way. They didn't find any, what's the word I'm looking for? They didn't find any foul play, such as like a gunshot wound or a stabbing or anything like that on his body. So the only thing that they could conclude was a drowning. But she still don't believe, that that's the truth, because he was a good swimmer.
They said he was he was a great swimmer. Like, he was on his high school swim team. And, his cause of death, drowning, okay, foul play can still be involved in you drowning. Like, if I tied your hands behind your back and threw you in the river, I'm sure, the cause of death would be drowned.
Right.
You drown.
Yeah.
But, anyway, if cause of death was drowning, you gotta ask, it's very unlikely, but you ask the question, did he, commit suicide, which is very unlikely, because his mom said that, in his 25 years of living, he never had a reason to harm himself. He never acted like, they just never had them problems. He was always happy, things like that. So, you ask that question, and it's like, you can pretty much eliminate that fairly quick, because, somebody who's going to commit suicide, remove your license plate, which was never found. They still don't know what a license plate is. Yeah. So, if you committed suicide, they found your clothes in your car. Well, you would have
Right.
left the license plate there or whatever. I mean, because people that commit suicide don't hide things. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just pretty much, for whatever reason, whatever they going through. I mean, a lot of them leave a suicide note, but I mean, it's nothing to hide. I mean, at that point, you
I
made
mean,
your
and
mind.
even if they do, I don't feel like in this case it was a suicide because there's so much
It's too much.
going into it.
The point I'm making is it's very easy to rule out suicide in this case.
Right.
But he was last seen at a medical marijuana dispensary, and at one point, Jelani Day had kind of looked up at the camera, and it looked very suspicious, as if maybe someone was in a car and he knew something was about to happen and he was being controlled, and as he looked up at the camera as if he was worried, or maybe he was trying to make sure he was caught on camera and make his clothes, you know what I'm saying, visible and obvious on what he had on in case someone found him or something like that. But I mean, a lot of people also say like that's kind of standard for
dispensary. Yeah, they'll have you take your mask off and look up at the camera.
Yeah, in case they need to go back to the cell for any reason to verify you are who your ID and things like that. I mean, I don't know. I never bought no marijuana out of a dispensary or nothing like that, but it was kind of weird that he walked in and he looked religiously right into this camera, and he just kind of stared at it, and he looked spooked, honestly. But I mean, it could have been normal routine. But his mom, after they noticed that he was on camera last seen at the dispensary, they did go check in with the dispensary to see if anyone was with him. He was by himself, things like that, which if someone was with him, they would have to be in a car, but we couldn't tell from the camera angles, and pretty much they said he was by himself. He came in and bought one joint, and all she knows is he bought one joint and then disappeared. He was never seen alive again.
Right. And then I know September 4th, they ended up finding his car in a wooded area in Peru. And Peru was like 60 miles away from Bloomington, where he attended school. And so his brother described the area in which his car was found to be like I couldn't just go to that area now and figure out how to get to this spot. You had to know where you were going in order to get to the location where his car was found. It was in a wooded area. So that alone was suspicious. And he wasn't from that area, so he wouldn't know how to get there. They did find some of his clothes in his car. And then later on down the line, when they found him, they actually found his body the next day. And they found clothes days after that, a mile up from where they found the body at. Once they found the body, they didn't bring the family in to identify the body. It was in water for 11 days. And so everything was like distorted. It was said that organs was missing, his eyes was missing, teeth were gone. It was even said that his jaw had been sawed out. So yeah, it's a lot that goes into this case, and it's really, really sad when you think about it, because that could be, anybody. That could be, your brother. That could be, a family member close to you. It's just sad to see that this promising life was taken away.
Jelani Day mom, Corman Day, it was very suspicious. She found it very suspicious on why he would leave campus that morning, because he had a very important meeting with his professor and a very important class later on that evening. And when he was seen that morning at the student center getting Starbucks, he was dressed real clean. He had on dress clothes, pretty much a nice button-up shirt and things like that. And 2 hours later is when he was seen at the dispensary, and he was completely dressed different. He had basketball shorts. He had on a Jimi Hendrix shirt and
baseball cap.
A baseball,
a cap. Yeah.
And his mom, Corman Day, she found that very odd, because she was thinking, well, why would he even leave campus knowing he got a very important class and a meeting with his teacher
professor,
later on that day? And if he was to leave campus, why would he go change into a Jimi Hendrix shirt and some some basketball shorts, as if he wasn't going back to campus. So
Right.
she did find that very
That
odd.
was suspicious.
Yeah, and very suspicious. But I mean, he was never found alive again. When they found his body, I mean, they didn't go out and find it. She had been asking him to do certain things, and they just kind of drug their feet. And at one point, Corman Day, which is his mom, she actually said like she blamed the Bloomington Police Department because she said that they drug their feet, and she was basically saying she actually quoted at one point that she felt like if her son wasn't black, they would have worked a lot harder on his case.
And around the time Jelani went missing, the Gabby Petito case was really, really, big. And everybody's focus was on Gabby. And she didn't understand why. She was like, my son is missing
as well.
too. Why is Gabby getting so much attention and my son isn't? And so she put together her own team. Like, she went out searching herself. I know she said that she went to a Family Dollar where they allowed her to sit there for 4 hours and go through footage to see if she can, find his car, spot his car. She even told the police, around the area will be a good area to search for some of Jelani things. And it is said that later on they did find his cell phone. Well, somebody else found his cell phone. The guy was basically saying how he was driving down the road and his mattress got loose. So he got off his truck, stopped his truck and got off to tie the mattress back down. And that's when he found the phone and turned that phone in. His clothes, even, close by the school, was found by 2 students who just so happened to be walking. So she feel like the Bloomington Police Department failed Jelani.
And at one point, NBC5 actually reached out to the Bloomington Police Department to do an interview and ask them questions about it. They actually declined to do an interview. They didn't want to talk about the interview. They basically said, she hired a private investigator and things like that. So I kind of wonder if they felt like, well, since, like, well, they had already found him dead and things like that, and then they knew that she was kind of blaming him. So, I don't know. As a police department, you still can't, like, turn your back on a lady. But I think they kind of felt like she had hired her own team and she was going to let them do it. But I know after they found the phone, the screen was shattered, but like she said, people replace iPhone screens all the time. That's nothing. That doesn't mess with the data and things like that. And she didn't want the phone in the possession of that Bloomington Police Department because she felt like they had already failed them already. Right. So she wanted the phone in the FBI's hand, which the FBI now has the phone. And they're still, I believe, trying to work to get the phone unlocked. But that
still gives her hope, though,
And she feel like that maybe answers or leads can be in that phone because 25-year-old, he's working on his graduate degree. He's already graduated. He's working to become a doctor. He had no reason. And it was completely left field for him to just disappear like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely foul. In my opinion, it was definitely foul play involved, and they have no leads. That's the thing.
I believe so too. In an interview with Dr. Oz, his brother did say that, even if he was having, any issues, he knew that he could always go talk to his mom. And if he couldn't talk to his mom, he can talk to his, his siblings. So, being suicidal or, having, all these heavy thoughts and stuff like that, he don't feel like that played a role in Jelani's disappearance. But yeah, it's just sad, y'all. It's sad that this goes on, and there's no answers. There's honestly no answers. And the fact that Carmen Day had to do 3 autopsies, had to have 3 of them done just to try to get an answer, and they all come back, inconclusive, the same thing. But yeah, my antennas went up when, his organs are missing and teeth and stuff are missing,
and they had an explanation for that. They basically was saying that that's pretty consistent with his body being in water for 11 days. But she also felt like if you're trying to cover something up, that just kind of go hand in hand as well, because his jaw is sawed, he got missing teeth, his eyes is missing, and she basically was like, that's a possibility, but
She
foul
didn't
play is a
want that,
possibility as well.
right? And she didn't want that to be what people ran with.
The whole narrative.
She didn't want that to be the narrative of Jelani's story, you know. Because she wanted to get down to the bottom of why he was there in the first place. Yeah. What happened to him in the first place.
After doing more research, we also noticed that what the detectives and a lot of the investigators said that river is actually popular for unsolved cases, and plenty of bodies has been found floating in there and was never solved, and that's a popular location for suicide and things like that. And his clothes, it was his clothes that was found by the river. They was actually found by 2 ISU students. I believe they was young ladies. They was walking along the river. I think they was just out getting a breath of fresh air, and they had noticed some clothes in the wooded area, but they didn't think much of it. But once they got wind that Jelani Day was missing and things like that, they noticed that they had remembered that those clothes was left out by the river. So they had actually went back to that location and called the police. And when the police got there, they was able to confirm that those was Jelani Day clothes as well. So, I mean, yeah, man, this is just a sad story. We're 6 months away. I mean, they still have no leads, no answers. And his mama, his brothers, I mean, they want answers. I mean, he's gone, but she wants whoever done this to be held accountable, that's really the only thing that can bring them justice.
Right. It's really a sad story, but we really just wanted to bring more light to Jelani Day's story. It's a known fact now that he is deceased. But yeah, we just wanted to shed a little more light on Jelani Day's case. You can literally type his name into Google or YouTube or anywhere basically, and all the facts will pull up, and you'll be able to, read more about him and about the case that's still ongoing right now. So yeah, we love y'all and we appreciate y'all, and we'll definitely be back with another true crime. Until next time, peace, love, and happiness, y'all.